What's up, y'all? We are back. This is episode 14 of the Milwaukee Brewers Out of the Park Baseball 25 series. It's been about 3 weeks since I've recorded. I did drop an episode I guess it would have been today. I wound up finally uploading here December 10th. I recorded that episode about 3 weeks ago. So I jumped back into the game last night, went through a little bit of August, and here we are, September. The Brewers are 22 games up in the NL Central, 87-46. And, I guess I should have gone back in the video and seen which trade I forgot to mention, but I think it was David Bednar. Of course, if you're watching this in order, you'll probably see that I didn't talk about Bednar last episode. I wound up swinging a trade for him, at the, 11:59 mark of the deadline. I just felt like we needed an upgrade at closer. And I finally wound up parting with a couple key players. Well, one key player, I guess. Eduardo Garcia, who spent pretty much the entire year in AAA. Played pretty well down there and, had his moments last year when we called him up. He had that incredible stretch to start off. Definitely faded toward the end. The strikeout to walk stuff definitely bothered me. Or concerned me, I shouldn't say bothered me. He still, performed pretty damn well for a guy coming straight from AAA, right into the fire. He's playing really well in AAA this season, so we didn't really have a spot for him, so we sent him out along with Luis Correa, 19-year-old with some, a good floor, and has pitched well in rookie ball this season for what that's worth. We gave up those two. We also got Julio Meza in return in this trade, an 18-year-old minor league catcher flyer type. But David Bednar, one of the best relievers in the save. He's been, actually unreal. Hasn't had an ERA over 2 in a full season, besides 24. I mean, the dude has been lights out. We get probably the best closer in baseball for half a season for those two guys. I love it. So he's come in, pitched only 6 innings because we've been playing really well and we haven't really needed to pitch him. But he's pitched 6 1/3, 8 games in the month of August. That was the last trade to announce. Of course, we got Yuri Perez, Reed Detmers. I believe I talked about those guys. And then Ian Happ, did I talk about him? Is kind of like I don't know if was this the guy I didn't talk about? 7:30, I believe I talked about him. Strzelski, kind of at the end of his run in Milwaukee, he just declined pretty dramatically after last season. He was having an okay year, but we gave up him for Ian Happ, who's been playing really well for us, and it's kind of solidified our left field. So we also picked him up. He's been playing really well, as I mentioned. The pitching staff has kind of been like the star of the story. So I'd like to start with Reed Detmers because dude has been insane in 8 starts, 1.76 ERA. I've been wanting to get this guy for years, and he has not disappointed. He's been great. 6-1 record, 46 innings in 8 starts. I mean, pretty much as you could ever ask for. I'd love to sign him long term. He wants a massive contract. Not going to be able to afford that. But we're going to enjoy our half season. Yuri Perez has been really good as well. 3.22 ERA, just kind of been overshadowed by Reed Detmers. A guy who I'd be much more inclined to give a big deal to. He actually wants less than Detmers, a few more years, but the AAV is very similar for a 26-year-old, going to be going into his age 27 season. Definitely something to look at. We do have George Kirby under that big contract, though. He's been good this year, not great. He's a good innings eater, and he pitches well when we need him to. But the overall numbers, on the year, don't look that great. It's been a disappointing year. He's been our worst starter, and that's not even a bad thing. He's been well above league average, a 1.06 ERA plus, the FIP 93 minus, or FIP minus 93. 7% better than league average in both regards. Maybe not worth $36 million, but we didn't really want to lose him after his great run in the playoffs. Gavin Stone's had a really nice year as well. The FIP is much better than his ERA would indicate. Love what we're getting from Gavin this year. And man, what a trade that was. Even if Like, Pajes hasn't played well this year. We'll get to him in a second. Vesia's been fine. Brian Wu, he pitched a couple innings for us. Rivera hasn't really made an impact. But we gave up Mazurski in this deal, and he hasn't done too much in LA. I thought he'd be much better than this. He's just been fine. They signed him to a pretty affordable deal. Very interesting. But we gave up him, William Contreras, for a full season? Half a season? I think it was a half. Okay, so it was a full season of Wilson Contreras. He barely played for them. He hasn't even been able to get a starting role. Very interesting. I mean, you'd think a guy like this would be a starting catcher somewhere, but has not been able to find a home since he left. Coleman Crow. I mean, basically what I'm saying is this has turned into a great deal for us. Gavin Stone's really solidified our number 2 starter in the rotation, and right now, he doesn't need to pitch like a number 1 because we have a bunch of other guys. And Bradley Blaylock, I mean, just really, really solid in year 1 of just giving him the ball every 5th day and letting him go. He really hasn't had that opportunity yet. He's had mixed results in the majors. Last year was definitely a promising season for him, and this year has broken out as in a really good middle of the rotation guy. And he's our 5 starter, so that's awesome. Luke Holman is going to get a little bit of run here. He's only made 5 appearances this year, but I'm going to throw him into the starting rotation. We're up so big in the division, I just want to see what these guys have got. So I have Holman up. I have Viduri up, who has pitched 8 games, 7 starts. Hasn't been too impressive, but, I mean, he's ready. So we're going to give him some run as a reliever. Josh Noth pitched 1 really good game. Gave us 4 innings of shutout ball. He's going to be up with the team. Liam Peterson will make his major league debut here in September. Super excited for him, man. He's dominated AAA this season. And we're just waiting for an opportunity to get him up here. So he's up. So those are the 3 main new guys that are coming up. Hagen Smith's been great as our swing man. He was the unfortunate, tough luck kicked out of the rotation when we acquired Perez and Detmers, but Smith's had a great season. Really excited for what he can bring next year. Scott Efros has had a great year as well. Kind of picked him up off the scrap heap, and he's been really solid for us. We've kind of done that with a few different guys, Edward Cabrera, another guy. We kind of just got him for nothing. He'll be a free agent after the year, but he's had a couple really nice years for us in a row. 3 great seasons. Alex Vesia has been pretty solid. The FIP indicates he's probably better than his ERA. Probably just some BABIP luck. He's a free agent after the year. He's just a lefty to have in the bullpen. He's our only lefty. Cade Smith's had a nice bounce back season after a rough 2028. And I kind of had a feeling he'd bounce back, and he has in a big way. So that's been great. And then, the back end has been excellent. Kyle Hurt, I mean, what a pickup this was. $1.5 million. The dude has been insane. Probably overperforming a little bit. But, the walk, strikeout, home run stuff looks really good. So maybe he's not overperforming. Carlos Rodriguez has finally gotten an opportunity. Another one of these guys who's kind of just been up and down and, kind of barely pitched, hasn't gotten a full season of run. This was the season he was out of options. So we're kind of forced to throw him in there, and he's been great out of the stopper role at this point. Then David Bednar, we talked about him. So that's the pitching staff. Any other guys that are notable? Quino got a couple innings. Didn't really impress me too much. Mengalez, I'd love to get him up, but I just don't have a spot for him. He's kind of like the... I don't know. I guess he's probably behind those guys in the pecking order at this point, even though he's debuted. Or he's pitched a little bit more than a guy like Josh Noth. But Frank Oshel, a guy I want to get up, but just don't have a spot for him. Maverick Rizzi, I mean, it's kind of just an embarrassment of riches in AAA right now. So I kind of have a plan going into next year, but we'll get to that when we arrive there. As for minor leaguers, Dave Krause, our first-round pick last season, He's gotten a half a season here in AAA. Actually, almost a full season. 73 games, 337 at-bats, plate appearances. Hasn't really done too much. I think his BABIP's a little low. Maybe he just rushed him a little bit too much, but I think he'll be fine. Anthony Gutierrez has been crushing AAA. Still excited for what he can be as like a fourth outfielder. I mean, you have a guy like this with this glove, that bat, maybe not a starter in a corner because I don't know if he's a center fielder. He probably can play a nice center field. He doesn't really have the speed. But as like a fourth outfielder, you can do a lot worse than him. So he'll get a little bit more run next year. Isaac Pacheco hasn't really been able to make it back onto the team after starting as our third baseman and quickly falling out of favor. You know, he this is his last option year, so we'll have to make a decision on him next year. But there's a good chance he winds up in the major league team and another crack at our third baseman job. But he also has some outfield ability. Like, he can be a nice utility player. So I kind of started with the non-impactful guys first with the hitting. So let's jump into the guys who actually played. So we'll get back to Macon Winslow in a second. Actually, you know what? Let's just get him out of the way right now. He got called up, let's see, beginning of August, I believe. I forgot what the injury was. I think let's see. Maybe it was Aguilar. Did Aguilar get hurt? No. I think maybe Churio got hurt again. Yeah, okay. That looks like around what he might have gotten called up. So I think Churio got hurt. And not really sure why we called him up. But anyway, Macon Winslow's been up with the team. He's burst onto the scene. 3 home runs and 17 plate appearances. Don't suspect that to sustain, but he has some good ratings. Not like a defensive catcher in my mind. But he can play some corner outfield, some first base. A nice player to have with that bat. Jackson Churio has dealt with some injuries this year, but on pace to play 120, 130 games. And he's been phenomenal. Finally broken out as like the dude on this team. You know, he's shown a ton of flashes. Like, he's been great, don't get me wrong, throughout his first I guess he lost almost all of 2025. The first year was disappointing in the first half, definitely turned it on in the second half. And I guess he has been an excellent player, but this year has been like a different level. A 168 WRC plus, 6.2 WAR already, which is already his career high in just 99 games. A 1. OPS, like totally broken out as a superstar. If he wasn't already. Juan Soto, a nice season. Not as good as last year, and not as good as his 2026 season, but still having a really good season. On pace for 40 home runs, just doing what he does. He's been great, and what a signing that was. I'm recording this on Tuesday here. Now, of course, as a Yankees fan, don't really love Juan Soto at the moment, but, it's okay. Love him here in this universe. And low-key, he only has a couple of years left on this deal. Like, 2 more guaranteed seasons. I don't know if he opts out. I'm guessing he will opt out in 2032. So, yeah, we'll have to make a decision at that point. He'll be 33. We pretty much got in his best years in this contract. The Mets will not probably have his best years. They signed him to a 15-year deal. We signed him to like an 8-year deal. Or what was it originally? Yeah, it was an 8-year deal. Damn. And not very realistic. Anyway, Brett Beatty. I mean, what else is there to say? Like, he's sustained this the full season. Like, the BABIP is ridiculous, 372, whatever. But as far as results, like, he's been a superstar, third baseman this season, and he's held up. He's been fairly consistent the entire year. Like, I haven't really noticed a drop off. I guess June was a little rough, but besides that, like, he's been awesome all year. So, love me some Brett Beatty. He's a free agent after the year. He's going to get the bag, a relative bag, like a good amount of money for a guy, like a player that he is. Royce Lewis has been a godsend for us. I don't know where we'd be without him. He's been healthy all season. He's been consistent. Maybe he dealt with one injury. No, he didn't even deal with any injuries. So he's just been really consistent all year. On pace for 6 WAR. Yeah, great season. Not as good as last year. Last year he broke out, hit 37 home runs. I mean, just ridiculous. But yeah, he's a superstar. David Aguilar, first round pick back in 2027. Kind of got him because he was a well-rounded, high-floor college player. Love these guys. Good outfield range, good leader. He kind of flew through the minors, played really well. Didn't kill it in AAA this year. Then he dealt with an injury of some sort. Let's see. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know why he didn't play that much. I guess he's been a bench player for us a bit of the year. He's only been up for 39 days, though. Oh, never mind. He was in AA. Okay, he started in AA, crushed AA, came to AAA. We needed an outfielder when Churio went down. Called up Aguilar. He's been great. The BABIP's not too crazy. I think this is definitely sustainable. Maybe the walk rate goes down to 8 or 9%. The strikeout rate, maybe it goes up to 18%. But even if he's, 10% above league average, that's a super valuable player. He's been great. He's playing some right field, some left field for us. Jefferson Kiro, nice little season. On pace for around 4-ish WAR. On pace to break his career high in home runs. His defense hasn't been quite as good as it was last year. In 2027 was his really good defensive year. And 2025 is just as good. But he's been kind of above average, but not great defensively. Still a really good player, but would like a little bit more with the bat, potentially. He had a great year last year. Nice season from Kiro. Brock Wilkins definitely been disappointing. Only about a league average hitter, slightly above. And I really can't explain it. I guess he's just not making as good of contact. The walk strikeout stuff is pretty similar to where it's been. I guess the walk rate's slightly down. BABIP just about where it's been. I don't know. Maybe just a down year. His BABIP ability is pretty high, so maybe he's more of a 320 guy, not a 308 player. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know. But, he hasn't been a black hole for us. Ian Happ, we talked about him. He's a 121 WRC plus since coming over. Hasn't provided much power, not much defense. But, a nice player to have in our platoon at this point with Andy Pages. I guess we can just jump to him. I mean, what a plummet from grace. I wouldn't even call it a fall. I mean, 10 home runs and 478 plate appearances. That's not going to cut it when power is your number 2 tool. I'd say his eye is his best tool. He's walked 12% of the time. He's still a valuable guy that you can get on base. But, I mean, 10 home runs? Are you kidding me? Even last year when he kind of sucked, at least he hit 30 home runs, but this year has not come through for him. He's been a putrid defender in right field. I mean, he hasn't been this, he's been bad, but he hasn't been this bad. So yeah, I don't know where Pages' future stands. It's been a rough season. I'm hoping next year at least you can give me 25 home runs, not 10. It's just sad. Hudson White is up as our backup catcher after we traded, what's his name? Whatever the catcher's name was that we had. Matthew Wood, is that his name? It is Matthew Wood. Wow, I can't believe I remembered that. Jeez, he's been so bad. What trade is this? Is the Oh yeah, Reed Detmer's trade. Okay. We have him Slade Caldwell, Noah Sheffield, DL Hall, who's only pitched 2 games, went down with a sore shoulder, and Eric Becker. DL Hall's a free agent. Eric Becker, a top-ish prospect. He's played pretty well for them. Not a guy I really had a spot for long-term, though, but hopefully Wood can turn things around. But yeah, White's been up since as our backup catcher. He's a good defensive player, good leader. That's about it. And then Roderick Arias has had a disappointing year, hasn't really taken the step that I thought he might be able to. But there's encouraging things. The strikeout rate is way down. The walk rate's up. The power just has not been there, though, which is really interesting. I think besides that, he's had a better season overall. But yeah, again, like the power, complete power outage for him. He hit 12 in 127 games last year, in about half the plate appearances this year. He has 2 home runs, so definitely not going to cut it. If he wants a spot long-term in this team, still a good defender, so not going to give up on him yet. So that's that. That's the update here. Tanner Bybee's back in 4 weeks, so we should be able to get him on this team at the end of the season. I don't know where he fits on the playoff roster. He is making some money for the next few years, so I'll probably bring him back as like a bullpen dude. Abby Uribe, did he suffer a setback? He did, yeah. So I don't know if I went over this, but he wound up going out with a torn labrum in October of last year. 10 to 11 month injury, whatever. He was due back pretty soon, and then he suffered another setback just as August came, and right as like that 10-month mark hit, another 12 months he'll be out. So he's likely going to miss like all of next season. Who knows if he'll be back as the same player. Really unfortunate for him. He was like a rising star for us. Had a couple really good back-to-back years, but super unfortunate for him. And then Ryan Richard. I don't know if he was on our 40-man. Is he? He is not. What was his deal? I don't know. Anyway, maybe he was on our 40-man. Yeah, he must have been. And then I moved him to the 60-day. If that makes sense. He'll be back in 2 weeks. We'll see if he can make an impact on the major league team. But anyway, we'll keep moving forward, week by week here. I don't even know if it's worth doing week by week. Maybe we'll just come back mid-September and update at that point. We're up 22 games. I mean, nothing really else to prove for us. So we'll be back in a few weeks. All right, so we're here. It is September 21st, and we are 96 and 56, 21 games up. It hasn't been like a great month or anything, but 9 and 10, hasn't been great. But we just finished winning 3 out of 4 against Philadelphia, who are in the wild card hunt, which it looks like they've pretty much locked up a spot at this point. Still have a couple games left to play. Quite a few games left to play. Big series win. So I really quickly want to go through Jefferson Kiro. Holy shit. I mean, I kind of like called him out open, saying I hope he gives us a little more offense. And in 14 games in September, a 253 WRC plus. He's doing it. So 122 on the season has passed last season's mark. He's been on a great little run. Brett Beatty went down for a couple of weeks. I put him on the 10-day IL. Didn't miss any more than that, but did call up Isaac Pacheco. Didn't do much with that opportunity. George Kirby has struggled in his last couple starts. The ERA's ballooned up to 4.35. Not too worried about him, but, we'd like a little bit better down the stretch. He has a couple more starts to rate his season. We are going to give a couple starts of Viduri here, or at least however many he has left. For Luke Holman, it was not good. He made 4 starts, gave up 4 or more runs in 3 of them. One of them was good, but yeah, it wasn't pretty. And then Liam Peterson's only pitched 3 innings. Josh Naught's pitched 11 on the season so far. I'm having these guys pitch a little bit more often. I want to see what they've got. And then offensively, Ian Happ is injured. He went out with a strained hamstring just today. I do have to throw him on the IL, unfortunately. And he's going to miss probably the rest of the season. Maybe he'll be back for the World Series if we make it there. But that gives us an opportunity to throw Anthony Gutierrez out there and see what he's got here in the last part of the season. We'll do him in right field, Aguilar in left, and then we'll keep Pajes as our right fielder against lefties. He has had a nice little resurgence here. Hit 5 home runs so far this month. His September numbers look pretty good. 45 plate appearances, 170 WRC plus, 5 home runs as we mentioned, which is half of what he hit in the entire first 5 months of the season. So hopefully he turns things around heading into the playoffs. But it's not like I'm keeping my hopes up for that or anything. I didn't even talk about Carlos Correa before. It's been an okay season. He still brings it with the glove. Great defender still at age 34. The bat just has kind of stabilizes solidly below average. He still brings a ton of value with his glove, but yeah, the bat hasn't been great. But yeah, I did realize I passed over him. Macon Winslow's been playing a little bit more. Still playing well. Here's the sort in terms of WAR. Actually, Brock Wilkins also played pretty well, or he had a nice little stretch to begin the month. In September he's been good. 138 WRC plus. So he's been better. Hero's been great. Kind of business as usual for the team. So, and then the pitching staff. Perez, one rough start in here, but mostly been good. Reed Detmers, one rough start. Besides that, it's been really good. Bednar has been great, up to 10 innings pitched in 15 games. He's coming in with a lot of, I guess these games he gave up a run immediately. 9 pitches and 2 pitches in to lose these games. This one picked up a save, getting 1 out, 7 pitches. So he just hasn't thrown a lot of innings, but has appeared in 15 games. Edward Cabrera did have one really bad blow up, I should say. Not pretty. Balloon his ERA over 4 on the season. Hopefully he can figure things out here in the last part of the year, or the final stretch of the year. Efros also had a blow-up game. Balloon's ERA up 0.8. Pretty significant. Those guys have still been good all season. So Daniel Cabral, number 1 prospect in baseball. I want to talk about him really quick. So I had him in A-ball the whole season. 102 games. Was not pretty offensively. But he's 20 years old. He's played a ton of seasons in rookie ball. Just wanted to push him up to A, see what he had. Didn't really bring it. I just kind of felt like calling him up to high A for the last couple days of the season. So we got 10 games up there. Played pretty damn well. In limited time. Didn't actually work a walk. Struck out 33% of the time. He's still overmatched at that level, but just a little update on how he's doing. Okay, so keep moving forward. We'll probably be back at the end of the season. We've already clinched the division. I don't know. National League, it looks like the Rockies have a shot to overtake us for the best record, but we have a pretty solid lead on them, and at least really weak this season. At least compared to the winners or the leaders in the Central and the West. So, gotta keep moving forward. We'll come back with an update soon. All right, so we're here for the playoffs. 104-58 is the final record for the the Brewers on the season. Finished the year really strong. Also, sitting here and Max Fried just had the Yankees, so that is excellent. Love me some Max Fried. So, I want to go over the last little bit of the season. We want to finish in September 16-12, and we were 9-10 at one point. So we finished 7-2, and then one win in October. So 8-2 is our final 10 games of the season. Really good finish. Of course, we're dealing with the Ian Happ injury. He's probably out for the rest of the season. Maybe comes back later. And Roderick Arias went down. Low-key kind of a big loss. I mean, he's a good defender over at third, and we don't have a ton of depth over that position. We have a Roll Vera up with the squad at the moment. He didn't play well down the stretch. Wasn't terribly inspired by his play or anything. But yeah, he's gonna back up the infield. That pushes Brett Beatty into action against lefties, which is a concern. He got 74 plate appearances against them this year, 67 WRC plus. Against righties, obviously, was dominant, 157 WRC plus. So yeah, there's some concern there. Hopefully we can work around him. He'll be batting ninth. Andy Pye has played a lot better down the stretch, hit 2 home runs in the final game of the year, so hopefully he can stay hot. Only a part-time player, so like he won't be. I don't think he'll be playing over Gutierrez. I think I prefer him, even if his bat's not as good. At least his defense is decent, and I do want to have him as a defensive replacement for Pajes against lefties. And we're going to face the Dodgers, so you can see Jacob Mazorski's going to go in game 1 for them. But let's check out the rest of their team. They were a wild card team, 90-72 on the year. They picked up Sal Stewart in free agency this season. Or sorry, he signed with. Oh, never mind. Wait. Oh, I had Sal Stewart in the Marlins. I'm doing that Marlins series offline right now, and I had Sal Stewart for like a half a season. Then he signed somewhere. I thought it was the save. But yeah, they have Sal Stewart over at third. He's a really good player. CJ Abrams, old friend of ours. He is over at second. Riley Green, who they signed in the offseason, had a good little season for them. 6.5 WAR, a really good season. Dalton Rushing, one of the best catchers in baseball. Total beast. Jesus Sanchez. Spent a couple years in San Fran, came back, didn't really do much this season. Chas McCormick, Jared Kelenic, Adrian Santana, Mookie Betts, the corpse of Mookie Betts, at first base. Oh man, he's still got 3 more years on this contract after this. Wouldn't be shocked if he retired. God, he's been so bad the last few years. Man, he's not even gonna make the Hall of Fame. Not even close. 50 WAR. He basically fell off after 2025, which is crazy. He's not even going to sniff the Hall of Fame, unfortunately. At least most likely. So their lineup not really too scary. Ninth in runs scored, pretty middle of the pack. Very top heavy with guys like Stewart, Green, Rushing. And I guess CJ Abrams is probably their third best guy. The rotation, Jacob Mizorowski. Pitched 184 innings this year. Still has the walk issues. Walk 5 guys per 9. Strikes out a ton of dudes. Overall, the numbers on the year weren't great, though. Corbin Burns looks like he just came back from injury after missing the entire season. He'll start game 2 for them. He signed a 5-year deal at the beginning of last season. Wosa Ko, I guess, is starting for them. He had an okay year. Zach Keen, didn't do too much. Only pitched a couple games. Looks like they're without a ton of dudes, though. Justin Steele, one of their top starters, he'll be out. He's out for 6 months. Yamamoto's out for 6 to 7 weeks, so he'll miss the series, obviously. Shohei Ohtani's going to be out. He pitched a ton of games for them, was pretty good. Obviously a hitter is pretty solid as well. Not amazing, but he's a good hitter. He'll be without Edwin Diaz, so this is a crippled version of this. And Spencer Steele, also a good player. A crippled version of this Dodgers team. I wonder how they finish the season. Yeah, I mean, they started pretty well, and then kind of middling toward the end of the year. Still a good team, though. It's the Dodgers. They're always going to give you a good run. So Our team will be, I guess our rotation will be, this was tough to do because really Detmers deserves a game one start. How he pitched in the 11 games for us. Like, he was sensational. And maybe he even, like, I don't know. Maybe I just give the game one start to him. Yuri Perez, I mean, just about as good. Maybe a little worse. He's going to be our 4 starter. George Kirby had the worst season of these guys, but, maybe the money, maybe the loyalty. I don't know. This always stabs me in the back. We'll see. He'll start game 2, and then Gavin Stone will be on the mound for game 1. He had a nice little stretch of games to end the year, which I like to ride the high hand going into the postseason. He led our pitchers in WAR, and all that jazz. So, these are the clear top 4 starters. Bradley Blaylock will pitch out of the bullpen for us. And the rest of the bullpen will be David Bednar, Kyle Hurt, Cade Smith, Carlos Rodriguez. It's kind of our high leverage guys, and then we'll have Alex Vesia, Edward Cabrera, Bradley Blaylock, Hagen Smith, and Scott Efros. Those like our middle relief options. Notable guys left off the roster. Tanner Bybee did come back, made 1 start, gave up 8 runs in 2 1/3. I'm not even going to blame that on him. I rushed him back. I just want to see what he had at the end of the year. I mean, if it was earlier in the year, I would have sent him on a nice rehab assignment for a couple of games, but just wanted to see what we had in him. And he capped off just a disastrous season after signing, a reasonable contract. It wasn't anything crazy. So he will be cut from the roster. Viduri was like the last guy I kind of wanted to keep on, but didn't wind up adding him. None of these guys really had a shot of making it. Consider even like Bryce Rayner. Maybe he's better than a Rivera. I don't know. No, I don't think so. We'll go with Vera. It's only 1 game, so he'll face Keene. Looks like Burns will start game 3 of the series. So Mizorowski will go in game 1 against Gavin Stone here. Dodgers, Brewers in Milwaukee, game 1. And we lose 3-1 against our former farmhand. Looks like a solo home run by C.J. Abrams in the 6th, and then Jesus Sanchez in the 9th off David Bednar was the nail in the coffin. Mizorowski dominated us, only 2 walks, 9 Ks, and 6 1/3. Gavin Stone is really good in his own right, but just not quite as good. Nothing going for the offense, really. So we lose game 1. Wosuk go against George Kirby in game 2. Kirby coming off a disappointing season overall. But it was kind of the same last year. Like, he wasn't great in the regular season, came into the playoffs and was dominant. So we're looking to get that same guy back. Go against Kirby, game 2 in Milwaukee. We lose 3-1 once again. Kirby, not a good start. Smith and Rodriguez go out of the pen, but only 1 run and not a single run driven in. That 1 run coming in the bottom of the 9th. Just kidding. Came in the bottom of the 1st. Okay, so backs against the wall here. Elimination game. Corbin Burns, Reed Detmers, who was objectively our best starter in the second half, or after we acquired him. The offense needs to get going here, though, man. I mean, we were the 3rd best offense in baseball, and we've scored 2 runs through 2 games against the Dodgers. And it's not like they have a crazy pitching staff either. So Corbin Burns, Reed Detmers, game 3 in LA. Going to keep our season alive, and we win 16-3. The offense comes alive in a huge way. Luis Quiro driving 4 runs apiece. Gutierrez, 3 hits, 3 ribbies. Soto, Chirio driving a pair each. Detmer's a really good start. Blaylock, a nice job. Wow. Ton of doubles in this one. I mean, geez. Lewis, Correa, pretty much everyone. Home runs, you had Chirio, Gutierrez, Lewis. Big game offensively for us. But it's a 2-1 series now. We'll stay in LA. It will be Keene against Perez. Here in game 4. Going to keep our season alive once again. We do a 13-3 win. Man, where was this offense the first couple games? David Aguilar, 7 RBIs, 3 homers. Holy shit. Absolutely arrived. Unbelievable. David Aguilar. Who would have thought? 2-run homer in the second, 2-run homer in the fourth, and a 3-run homer in the top of the ninth to bury the nail in the coffin. Perez, a nice start. Blaylock, good in relief once again. And Efros, 2 runs in 2 innings, but didn't need that much out of him. Wilkin also drove in 2. Churio drove in a pair. And Pajes looks like he had a home run in this one as well. Churio hit 2 home runs as well. Jeez. Overshadowed by the 3-homer game by Aguilar, but great game from Churio. Okay, so now a 1-game elimination. Mizorowski, Gavin Stone, the guys who were traded for each other. I mean, this is kind of so poetic in so many ways. We're defending champs. Gavin Stone's been fantastic. Mizorowski's been disappointing for them, but all that matters is this game. So Milwaukee, Game 5, Stone, Mizorowski. Let's do it. We lose 5-3. Disappointed into the year. Damn. Neither of the starters did too well. Looks like he might got hurt. Yikes, that sucks. Wosutko came out of the pen and shut us out through 5. Oh my God. Gavin Stone, not a good start. 5 walks through 4 1/3. Smith, Vesia, Cabrera, good in relief, but man, that's so tough. Wow. The hot stove is hot. Blue Jays traded for Andres Jimenez with that contract. That's crazy. Wonder how much money the Guardians ate. Churio, man, another good game. 2 more homers, hit 5 home runs in his last 3 games. That sucks. Riley Green winds up winning Series MVP. I mean, geez. Churio, had a series for the ages and has finally arrived. I mean, this is so exciting to see him break out like this. Even if this is disappointing into the year and we kind of pushed all in, I really love this team, man. Like, this is one of my favorite teams we've ever assembled. I've ever assembled in this game. And this top 4, I thought this was destiny. Like, this looks so good. And then, the bullpen, excellent all year. First in bullpen ERA, first in starters ERA, first in runs against, whatever. And the offense, man. The offense was great as well. It just sucks, but that's how the cookie crumbles sometimes. So that'll be the end of this season. I'll probably go through the offseason here in this episode, so tune in for that. We'll be back for the offseason. Okay, so we are here, start of the offseason, about a day in. So, Andy Pajes was due to make $4.6 million. We're kind of in a, we don't want to be spending money on dudes who aren't necessarily going to be huge impacts for it next year. And the last 2 seasons have been super disappointing. Did end the season strong, but, am I going to trot him back out there and, have him take up a roster spot as an atrocious defender in right field? There's a lot of reasons that I want to get rid of Pajes here. I don't want to get rid of him, but I found a trade that makes a lot of sense. We're also going to Josh Steffen in this deal, who was selected in the Rule 5 draft last year. Pitched really well for Oakland. They returned him to me. So we'll send him over in this deal to trade for this guy, Cannon Peebles. 25-year-old catcher. Surprisingly, hasn't played a lot of catcher in the big league. So check out his career fielding stats. Like, he's played 10 games at catcher. He's not a bad defensive catcher on paper. So it's really interesting that he hasn't even factored in at all. I mean, Samuel Basallo is kind of their mainstay catcher here, and he's a great player. But, he hasn't even gotten a shot. Lamar King's here as well. But he hasn't done much, so I don't really know who they've been using as a backup catcher. This guy, Malcolm Moore, now. Yeah, I'm not sure why they haven't used Cannon Peebles as a catcher. They've used him as a DH, where his bat is league average. And and throughout his career, he's a 92 WRC plus guy. This is a contingency plan if we can't bring back Jefferson Kiro, and I'm not sure we will be able to. His contract is up after next season, I believe. So he has one more year of team control. I don't know if we'll be able to bring him back. It's possible, but we'd have to move some money around. So we'll see about that. But this is a contingency. If we're not able to bring him back, we have Peoples here who can, give us 80% of what Kiro could have. Offensively, probably be as good as Kiro, or maybe 90% of Kiro. And defensively, he's not going to be quite at that level, but, could still be a really good player. Walks 10% of the time throughout his career. Strikeout rates aren't anything crazy. I think last year was a bit of an anomaly. He's probably more of like a 22% strikeout rate guy, 20%. More league average, not 26%. Has a good amount of power. I don't know. I think it's a good pickup. He's cost controllable for a few years, so this helps out in that regard. And we don't really have like a backup catcher. I like Macon Winslow, but he's not a catcher defensively. He could be a nice backup. Like if you need to put him in every fifth game or so, he can do that. But he's not really a defensive catcher. Cannon Peebles, much more that type. He's only 25, so he'll be 26 when the season starts. And we'll say goodbye to Pages. He had that great first season, and it seems like it was kind of the outlier in his career. But there's a good chance he goes to Miami. He's a really good player. How many years of control does he have left? So yeah, he has 2 more years of control. Peebles, I'm guessing he has 4 or so. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 4 years, 1 more at the league minimum. Then he'll hit arbitration. So yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. So we're going to go through with this trade. Yeah, they don't like that we got rid of Pages. Oh, they think we're working on an extension with Kiro. Okay. I guess we are, just through arbitration. Okay. So Peoples add to the roster. That gives us a good backup catcher for this season and maybe a potential starting catcher moving forward. As for right field, we'll figure it out. We have Aguilar, we have Gutierrez here. Those guys are good options. Dave Krause, he's not really an outfielder, but we can move some dudes around. Pacheco will factor in. I want to get Quintero up on the team. He had a good season in AAA last year. So yeah, I don't know if there's like a big move to be made this offseason. It might just be like, bringing back the guys. I really like our rotation coming into the year, all things considered. The things considered being we're losing Detmers and Perez, who were objectively our best starters down the stretch. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be tough to lose them, but we have Kirby and Stone coming back. That's a good one, too. Whatever way you want to order those. Bybee will be back. You hope he's better than he was last season. And he's more of like the pitcher that he was the 3 seasons before, which is a league average dude. But then we have Ramiro Verduri, who I'm super excited for here in his first real shot. Hagen Smith had a nice season, splitting time between the starter and bullpen. So he's a good option. Then Liam Peterson, finally going to get his first opportunity. He had made 1 start at the end of the year, 6 1/3, 2 runs, 9 Ks, 2 walks, like excellent first career start. That was on the last game of the season. So yeah, I mean, that's 6 dudes there. And then you go, you got Mangalays down here. You got Luke Holman, who's a former 17th overall pick. Bradley Playlock, who I totally forgot about. Jeez, okay, he probably is going to get one of these spots. Would probably go like that in the pecking order. Viduri an outside shot to make the rotation, but I think he probably could. But yeah, we have so much depth. Like, this is excellent. Efros, we're going to non-tender. We'll get to that. Edward Cabrera is a free agent. Alex Vesey is a free agent. Bednar won't be back. He's a free agent. all these dudes will be back though. So we have Hurt, Smith, and Rodriguez. I like that as the back end. However we want to order them. Then we'll have Mengales here, Holman. We'll have Peterson. So, I mean, I don't know. That bullpen looks pretty good to me. Josh Noth will be here. Quino might just or waive him and DFA him. So those guys will be back. Frank Oshel, still like him. He's likely to factor into our bullpen. So, yeah, we have a lot of guys coming in here that are going to be pretty good players, I think. We're losing these guys. I think that's everyone. But yeah, we'll have all these dudes back. No lefties, which is just interesting. I guess we haven't had a ton of development with those guys. Okay, so let's go to the development lab. And this might change. I might want to get Peebles in there for defense. Because I think it's more than likely we're going to have to let him walk. I don't think there's like a world that we were able to bring him back, unfortunately. We should have too much money tied up with Churio, Soto, Kirby. It's unfortunate. And Lewis, I guess. He has a little bit of money owed. Correa's owed a little bit of money. So I think it's more than likely we go with Peebles next season. If he's any good. Or maybe we just wait for next season to throw him through the lab. I think we'll probably do that. But we have Churio going for strength and conditioning, try to get him unfragile. Viduri, he's going to try to improve his pitch arsenal, just improve this stuff a little bit. If this stuff ticks up just a little bit, he's going to be a total front of the rotation guy. Liam Peterson, he's fragile, he's going to work on his strength and conditioning. Mengales, his one kind of flaw is his control. Besides that, he still has some good upside. Hagen Smith going to try to improve his movement. His control was much better than I shouldn't even say it's much better. He had control issues earlier in his career, I think, in the minor leagues. It's kind of stabilized in the majors, so I'm not worried about that. I want him to keep the ball in the ballpark a little bit better. Vince Jennings, second-round pick. I love the upside, but the Void K's is holding him back. Going to try to improve that as two-strike approach. Daniel Cabral, same story with him. I think the strikeouts is holding him back at this moment, so going to send him to get that done. And then Dave Krause, quality of contact, just going to try to improve his contact ability to be able to use the speed, that gap power. The defense will come later. We'll work on that next year. So yeah, that's kind of the start to the offseason here. As for contracts, we're non-tendering Scott Efros. He's just 35. Due to make $2.4 million, I think it was. Yeah, 2.4. It's not unreasonable, but we have other guys I think that we can use more effectively. Abner Uribe, unfortunately, is going to be non-tendered. He's going to be out for most of the season. November, so you're looking at a August return maybe. I would love to bring him back on like a, Brandon Woodruff, 2-year deal, team option for the second. But yeah, I can't. He was due to make $5.5 million. We're too tight with the money right now to give that to a guy who might pitch, 20 innings for us this season. Blake Perkins, who made his way back onto the team this year, he'll be non-tendered. He was due to make 1.5. Kiro, Wilkin, Cade Smith, Kyle Hurt, Gavin Stone, and Bradley Blaylock all going to be tendered contracts. None of these guys were going to offer to the qualifying two. I'm curious. We don't even have enough money to offer Brett Beatty. Just out of curiosity, if I was to offer Beatty 1 year, $19 million, yeah, he would accept that. So I kind of figured he would. I love what we got from him this year, but I don't really want to go dipping on those waters again. I think he was kind of a 1-year wonder with the crazy BABIP, and I loved him this season. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's smart to bring him back. You want to project people forward, not what they did last year. Cabrera looks like he wants starter money, which is interesting, like big reliever money. I think he could definitely start, but he was never going to be a starter for me. He actually had a decent year for St. Louis before he came over. Then we'll lose Bednar, Detmers, Happ, Perez. A couple of huge losses there. There's a world we bring back Yuri Perez. He doesn't want anything crazy. Only an 8-year deal for a 26-year-old. He'll be 27 when the season starts. I mean, it's not crazy, but I don't know. I'd like to keep our long-term flexibility a little bit better than it's been. We gave Kirby the big deal. I don't know if we have room for 4 massive contracts, even though Churio's not making a ton of money or anything. Okay, so we're going to keep moving forward. We'll be back in just a sec. Okay, so huge trade as we approach a little bit deeper into the offseason. We're here on November 14th. Some of the awards being announced, we'll get into that in a second. We're going to be giving up some pretty big players here. So Roderick Arias, still, really, really good upside as a player. Still really like him, but, he hasn't proved too much, and probably going to look to upgrade third base. I really like him, but, this is a deal I really couldn't pass up. And then Carlos Correa, throw him in as into the deal, kind of his contract filler, but also, he's been a productive player, 3.5 WAR the last 3 seasons. Crazy, identical seasons offensively. This one is probably the best, I'd say. 20 home runs, 74 ribbies. Although he once upon a time walked 10% of the time. Not so much anymore, but, he's 35, starting to decline. The glove's still really good, but, can we bank on that forever? I don't know. He's getting expensive. Or I guess he is expensive generally, although we're only paying $10 million to him next year. Nothing crazy, but we're looking to upgrade a little bit. So a guy I've been looking at in the save has finally kind of become available. Zico Tovar, one of the best players in baseball throughout his career. He's only 28 years old, coming off his 27-year-old season. He's averaged about probably 6 WAR a year. Through 7 full seasons, 37 WAR he's accumulated, so 5.5 a season. In this save, he's been much better. It's been more all of that. It's been 36 WAR through 6 seasons, so 6 WAR a year. Steals a lot of bases. Hits a decent amount of home runs. Doesn't walk a ton, but remarkably consistent. The strikeout rates are usually pretty good. And a wizard defensively, and he's only 28. He's been playing a lot of second base, which is really interesting. Actually primarily second base throughout since 27. So I forgot who they brought in. They have him listed as a shortstop here, but they were playing someone else at shortstop. Is he hurt? I think it was their other top prospect in real life, Adel Amador. I think he was playing shortstop or something. But anyway, he obviously had that really team-friendly deal. It's kind of coming to an end. We have him for $9 million next year and a team option for $20.5. I assume I'd pick that up. But they're going to eat 70% of this deal this season. And, it saves us money this year. And we're able to get younger at shortstop. We do give up Arias, which sucks. But I think third base will be set moving forward, pending Dave Krause working out. He's going to be at third base moving forward. We play Royce Lewis over there. We could sign someone in free agency. We have Isaac Pacheco, Rolivera. Bryce Rayner is not a bad player. We can figure out third base, I think, for a half a season until Dave Krause is ready. But yeah, I mean, this is a huge upgrade, obviously, at least from an offensive standpoint. Defensively, probably a push, but we get younger. Arias, really like him, and I think he'll do really well in Colorado. But yeah, I just didn't really have a spot for him. An interesting tidbit about this trade. While I was looking for it, I don't even remember how I walked into this. I think I was shopping around. No, I wasn't even shopping. You know what? The only thing I did to find this was I went to Silver Sluggers and I saw Tovar one. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I wonder what his value was. And initially, the trade was just straight up Arias for Tovar, 1-for-1. I'm throwing in Correa because he's owed a bit of money, but like they would do that. Without it, we're also able to. Man, now I'm kind of talking myself into maybe keeping Correa, putting him at third, Tovar at short. But then we're locked into Correa. I'd rather free up the money this season. They could eat 10% more, and we get off his contract. So I think it's an awesome trade. We're gonna go through with it. Yeah, Correa was a leader on this team, so it doesn't surprise me the fans aren't happy. I'm surprised the locker room isn't pissed, but they're pumped we got Tovar on the squad, and I am too. So cool. One of the guys I've been hunting in this save. Finally we're able to get our hands on. So he will move to shortstop and slot in. Man, this is a fun lineup. Oh yeah, what I was gonna say. With Drew Romo, I almost did a Romo for Kiro swap in that trade. I think I would have wanted a little bit more, but I saw that Romo got extended. Shoot. Where is Colorado? Colorado Rockies. So Romo, he got extended 5 years, 20-ish mil a year, 19 mil a year. Not a crazy contract, but that's about what I'd want to give Kiro. So, this also low-key opens up an opportunity to sign Kiro to a long-term extension later in the offseason, potentially. I just like to keep him around. He's not like the greatest player in the world or anything, but he's just a fun guy to have here. One of like the OG's prospects before I even arrived. But yeah, man, this is a fun team. I don't even know how this lineup looks really. Tovar is not really your prototypical leadoff hitter. It doesn't walk a lot. Does get on base quite a bit, but it's mostly through singles. I think I'd rather move Cheerio down in the lineup, get him some more opportunities. Maybe it goes Tovar, Cheerio, Soto. Although Soto walks so much, man. It's like I'm almost tempted to do that. But I think maybe Tovar, Soto, Cheerio, Lewis, Kiro, Wilkin, whatever we want to do with that. And then it really doesn't matter the rest of the order. I mean, that top six is insane. And David Aguilar had a great year as well. Had obviously that huge 3 home run game in the playoffs. And then Anthony Gutierrez, a really nice player. Like I'd be cool trotting him out there in a corner outfield spot next season. Maybe like a platoon with him, and I guess Quintero's a righty, so it doesn't make any sense. But have Quintero mix in the outfield. Kind of makes sense. We still got Pacheco here, so maybe it's like a platoon at third base with Pacheco and a right-handed infielder that we bring in. Yeah, man, this is super, super exciting. The rotation's still set. I mean, we have a chance to trade from some of our depth. Like Bradley Blaylock has a lot of value out there. I like Bradley Blaylock, but if we're able to flip him for a third baseman or something, I'd be totally, totally down for that. Not necessarily looking for that trade, but I guess I will look for the trade right now, though. Graham Paul, he's a guy I like, but he's got a little extension going. Not the best hitter throughout his career. Armando Cruz I like for his defense, but not much offensively. Like some of these Yankees pitchers. I think we can get some of those guys, and we already have some of those dudes. I really don't want to trade for pitching or acquire any pitching because we already have so much. I guess you can never have enough, but you kind of can have enough when these guys aren't even getting opportunities. Thomas Sajacy, how's he look these days? Yeah, he's fine. Not really much of an upgrade, but it is the right-handed archetype that I like. Much better against lefties, or at least better against lefties, theoretically. Luis Angel Cunha makes sense if you didn't have a huge extension. Yeah, so maybe this is more of a free agency or like, let's see who appears on the trade block type of thing. Because, yeah, there's not going to be anyone here yet. Yeah, not a huge fan of any of those dudes, so. Okay. We'll keep moving forward. We'll come back with the next update soon. All right, so we have a few things to go over here. We're here in spring training 2030. So we made a bunch of little moves, nothing really else massive. I guess the biggest thing that happened in the last few days was we signed this guy, Si-Hwan No. The beginning of the offseason, he wanted like $20 million over 6 years or something. He didn't get signed, and then he just wound up being, he was just out there as we approached spring training. Just signed him today, but he's been like a total masher over in the KBO. I don't sign a lot of guys like this, it feels like, so. We got him on a 1 year, $5 million deal. He'll have auto renew and all that stuff over the next 6 years, I guess. He has a bunch of platinum stick / silver slugger awards over there. He won the KBO MVP last season and in 2025. So we didn't really have a third baseman. So he's presumably going to be our dude over there this season. Pretty excited for him. We did sign some other options to bring in. None of them big names or anything. Geraldo Perdomo is one of them. Luis Urias, who's been dreadful the last 2 seasons with the bat, but a good bounce back guy. We still have Bryce Rayner here. Spencer Browning still in the building. 3rd round pick back in 2026. Definitely a defensive profile of a third baseman. Also a really nice outfielder as well. So super utility role could be in his future. Excited for him. Armando Cruz, we brought him in. Minor league free agent signing. We still have Dave Krause here. We'll see how he performs in spring. Tommy Vargas, not really a first base option. We brought in this guy, Cole Cummings, in a deal with Arizona. That was a 1-for-1 for this guy, David Blanco. Just another guy to have in the building. They're eating almost all of his contract this season. And then in the outfield, kind of the same story with the other positions outside of, our incumbent in center field and Jackson Cherio. We're also going to, Isaac Pacheco is also an option over at third base. Didn't mention him because he's been playing some left field here in spring. I'm not really sure where he's going to play come opening day, but we have Pacheco here. We brought in Trent Grisham on a minor league deal. $1.5 million if he makes the roster was in the first month. Anthony Gutierrez is still in the building. We got David Aguilar here. Victor Scott, we brought him in on a similar deal to Grisham, a little bit more expensive, $3 million if we want to bring him on. Really good defensive guy, great speed. A useful player for sure. We still have Eduardo Quintero here. Nate George has kind of come along nicely. He's kind of a right-handed version of Victor Scott. He's definitely an interesting player. We'll see if he could be a major league guy. And then Vince Jennings, we'll go over him. He's just up with the team, but we did send him to the lab. We'll go over the results in just a second. And then Macon Winslow, also an option in the outfield. So yeah, the corner outfield spot's kind of going to be like the hot hand, or something the equivalent of that. I had a trade lined up trying to get Kobe Mayo. Didn't really make a lot of sense long term with our financial situation. Would have cost us like $15 million over the next 3 years. We already have like a lot of big contracts on the books, and our lineup's pretty stacked even without him, so I didn't really find it necessary. And in the rotation, we didn't really pick up anyone. We're going to run with the guys we got. Same with the bullpen. I don't think I signed anyone big. A couple flyers on guys like Braxton Garrett on a minor league deal, Luis Heel on a minor league contract. Nothing really too big. Nicola Dolo was here. We signed him at the end of last year. Dude has a ton of trade interest. So a guy we could look to move before opening day. Carlos Hernandez, another guy on a minor league deal. Really like him. I think that's about it. So, the rest of these guys are prospects. We did make one more signing. It was Abner Uribe. Brought him back on a 2-year, $8 million deal, team option for the second year. Of course, he's going to miss a lot of this season. Looks like he'll be back like July or August. My guy went non-tendered in the offseason. We're able to pick him up on kind of like, if you come back and you look good, we'll pick up your option. If not, we can cut bait. But you made $4 million doing nothing this season. Really like that deal. I think we had some other moves, but we just signed Gavin Williams to a minor league deal. I would like to put him on the roster. He's still a good player. Yeah, really nice player. We have kind of a gross surplus of arms, though, so I don't really know how this all is going to work out. Garrett is hurt, so we'll just throw him. Actually, we'll send him to AAA. And then put Williams up here. I don't know. Gavin Williams could work out as a starter. I do want to see how the rest of these guys prove themselves, so I'm going to leave him in the bullpen for now. Maybe he makes the opening day roster. Okay, so other moves this offseason. We have the development lab. Did not go well. We got 2 out of 8 to succeed. Churio did not improve his fragility. Verduri did not improve his pitch arsenal. Still looks like a good player, so I'm not going to panic over that. We did have one, Liam Peterson, successful in improving his fragileness. He's now okay. This dude looks like a total stud. I hope he works out. He's going to get an extended run here, either in the rotation or the bullpen. Megales did not improve. Hagen Smith didn't improve. And then Vince Jennings, he was poor in his strikeout improvement. It's like the worst thing you want to see. A guy who's already struggled to improve his Ks, his strikeout rate. But, not all hope is lost with him. He's just taken a very long time to get going here. And then Cabral and Kraus did not improve either. We signed a few international guys. We signed this guy, Luis Manrique, to a $1.08 million deal. Oh, sorry. Wait, that's not the guy. That was the guy we missed out on. Okay. Jesus Cosme on a $2.4 million bonus. I think that was him, and we signed another guy. It wasn't my favorite class or anything. We wound up using it on 2 dudes. What the heck? I guess I could filter. Let me just go to the complex. Be quicker. Is this guy, Juan Marokin. Just a reliever, but could be in a crazy elite one. 16 years old, pretty well developed at that age. I'm going to put him right into Dominican League. Even though he's young, he's well developed at this point. And then, we got this Jesus Cosme guy. Really like him. Well developed, 17-year-old. He will also go to the Dominican League. Prado's good, so I got to add a bunch of these guys to our team. Probably most of the 17-year-olds. All of the 18-year-olds that we have here. I'm going to do this off camera, but yeah, I think most of the 17-year-olds should be good. I think we're kind of short on guys in this league, too. Just kidding. No, we're not. That's not even the right team. No, we have a ton of guys. Okay. So I'll go through that afterwards before the start of the season. But I think that's it. Yeah, I don't think there was much else to update on. Obviously, we made a bunch of big moves. Or at least the one biggest move was to go out and get Ezekiel Tovar. His range did drop, which is interesting, but he's still probably going to be a good shortstop. Seems like actually a lot of his ratings dropped. Is that true? Or I'm just imagining that. Yeah, his power dropped a little bit. His eye did improve. Okay, so not the end of the world. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a very busy offseason by all means, but there might be some more moves before opening day to clear some of these roster spots and maximize on some guys' value like Nick Lodolo, who I would typically use in the rotation, but we just don't really need him. So, yeah, we'll be back before or around opening day and do what we usually do. And, yeah, then we'll end the episode there. We'll be back. All right, so we're here around opening day. We're going to sim forward to it, but I forgot to mention one move. We did sign Tommy Edman, 1 year, $4.5 million deal to be kind of a utility player for us. His range, I think it was at a 60 when I signed him, did drop down to a 55. That matters, but he's still a nice player. Can't actually see his scouting history with that. But yeah, you know, he's going to play a role off the bench for us. Opening day roster is as follows, so no surprises really in the infield. It'll be Kiro, Wilkin, Lewis. Si Juan No will make his debut at third base. Had a really good spring, 1 OPS. Yeah, excited for what he can bring. And then Zeke Tovar, we just picked up this offseason. That's our infield. No surprises there. Outfield's a little interesting. Now we're going to have Macon Winslow starting in left field. Had a nice little run of games when we called him up. No, he's not a good defender, but he's in there for his power. We'll see how he does. This is all going to be very fluid and kind of how guys play. Cheerio will be back in center, and Anthony Gutierrez will start in right field. Really good defensive player, good enough bat. Not an ideal like outfield or like corner outfield type, but he does have some offensive production in the minors. There's good signs down here, you know, a 8% walk rate if he keeps it at that, 20% strikeout rate. That's all about league average. Even if the results weren't great, I think the low BABIP, that will probably improve. If he's closer to like the 300 BABIP guy he's been in the minors, I think he could be a league average hitter. And Juan Soto will be back as our DH, obviously. So lineup is Tovar, Cheerio, moving him down to the 3-hole. I like Tovar with you know, his bat to ball ability. It will probably open up Soto and Cheerio for more RBI opportunities. And Soto obviously is the prototypical 2-hitter. Gets on base a lot for the top of the middle of our order, which will be Cheerio, Royce Lewis, coming off a great season last year, and Brock Wilkin. And then just behind him, Jefferson Kiro, Si Juan No, Macon Winslow, and Anthony Gutierrez. A really, really good lineup, man. Super excited for it. Other guys who made the team, Eduardo Quintero had a really good spring, a 916 OPS. He's going to mix in a lot in left field. Going to be a defensive replacement for Winslow. Could take his spot if he sucks. But yeah, it's been a long time coming for Quintero. He's dealt with a lot of injuries. This is a guy we got in one of our first trades back in 2024. And our first deadline for Tyler O'Neill. Wait, no, sorry, that wasn't us. This one, sorry, 2025. We got him along with Cash Mayfield for Bryce Terang, Brandon Drury, Reed Garrett, Jerison Pena, and Felix Valerio. None of those guys really worked out for Boston. And, you know, Mayfield didn't work out for us either, but Quintero can kind of, be the last piece that maybe he does. And he was the big piece in that deal. So super excited for him. And Nate George, defensive wizard, has some batting ability. We'll see if he can hold like an 80 WRC plus with that glove. Maybe he's a future center fielder. As Churio, he's 26. He's not old, but as he gets older, if he has injury issues, hasn't played above AA, but he's under 40 man. And I think my plan eventually is to bring Trent Grisham in at that role and send him George back down to the minors. Also, we're without David Aguilar at the moment. So, yeah, one of these guys is going to take his spot. I mean, even as soon as opening day, maybe. Who else? Gavin Williams. Okay, we'll go through the pitching here while we're on the screen. It'll be George Kirby, Gavin Stone. Tanner Bybee will get the first crack at this rotation spot. His spring was okay, and he's still making some money. The last year of this deal. That obviously last year did not go well at all. He was putrid, but he has a good track record. We're going to roll him out there. Bradley Blaylock had a really good season last year. He'll be our 4th starter. Then Hagen Smith wins the 5th starter spot. He didn't really win it, but I wanted to give him the first crack at this opportunity. After being a swingman for the last 2 seasons. That does pitch Ramiro de Viduri to the bullpen. He's not really your prototypical bullpen arm. I'd love to just get him into the rotation, but we'll see which one of these 3 guys struggles first, and Viduri will likely take that spot. Liam Peterson, speaking of top prospects, he will be in the bullpen to start the year as well. Just doesn't have a ton of major league innings under his arm, even AAA innings. Like, he only pitched a half a season there. So, yeah, we're going to roll with him in the bullpen to start. Carlos Hernandez makes the team as a minor league free agent signing. Really like what he can bring, potentially. And then Luis de Avila. I feel like we had both of these guys at one point in the Marlins series, too, now that I'm thinking about it. Different iterations of the player, of course, but, de Avila showed a lot of good stuff last year with Pittsburgh. I like the 67 FIP minus, the strikeout, the walk stuff, the home runs, doesn't give up a ton of them. At least not last year. He does have a history of giving up a ton, but we'll see how he plays. Definitely not a guy we need to hold on to if he sucks. And in the back end, we'll have Carlos Rodriguez back, Kyle Hurt back, and Cade Smith will be our closer to start the year, coming off a nice season last year. And then Gavin Williams gets the last bullpen spot this season. Coming off, a string of really good seasons as a starter. Going to move him to a bullpen role. We'll see how he does. And then notable guys on the 40-man who didn't make the team. Nate Britton, guy I really like. Doesn't really have a spot. Luke Holman, former 17th overall pick. Just don't really have a spot for him. Didn't play particularly well last season. Was good in spring. We'll see how he progresses. Nick Lodolo, we're going to hold on to him for now. Juan Mangalez, former 2nd-round pick. Got a little taste of the majors last year. Fran Oshel, like him. Then Bryce Rayner as a bat. He did not make the team, but could be a good defensive guy in the future. Maverick Rizzi, he got some innings in the majors last season. Played really well in AAA as well, so a potential bullpen arm for us. And then Hudson White, our former backup catcher at the end of last season, does not make the team as Connor Peebles had a great spring, 1.1 OPS. Yeah, so that's the team going into this season. Isaac Pacheco also out, as you can see on the screen right here. I don't know if he necessarily cracks the roster here. I think he might be out of options. I also had to DFA these guys, so I also need to set my AA roster and do the international stuff, so I'll be back for opening day. Okay, so we just sent out Trent Grisham and David Aguilar on rehab assignments, so they'll be back within the next few days, but are going to roll with this team heading out there for Game 1 of the season. Game 1, we will be playing San Diego. Tyler Glass now against George Kirby. Opening day, 2030. Let's do it. And we win 11-2 offense coming through big. Oh, man. Big game from Brock Wilken, Royce Lewis, Tovar, a couple of hits in his team debut. Used a lot of our bench in this one as well, which is interesting. George Kirby, a great start, and Luis De Avila, nice in relief. So Jackson Ferris, Gavin Stone, game 2. We win 4-1 in 10 innings. Isaac Pacheco is back as well. James Conner is going off in fantasy right now. I'm playing him in my Dynasty League, and I have him in my Yearly League, so bittersweet. Anyway, just got an alert for that. That's why I mentioned it. Gavin Stone, 6 1/3, 1 run. Really nice start from him. Carlos Rodriguez and Caleb, what the heck is his name? Cade Smith. Close it out. Jefferson Kiro, a bases clearing double in the top of the 10th. So good start to the season. First 2 games, we'll have Tanner Bybee against Henry Lalane. We lose 4-1. Check out the box score. Tanner Bybee, a good start. 7 innings, 2 unearned runs. Kyle Hurt did give up 2, unfortunately, and we wind up losing. Bybee, the tough luck loser in this one. So looking to win the series here. I think we have nothing too crazy that I can see of guys that I care about improving. Levi Sterling's an interesting player. At least he was at one point. Nothing too big to update on there. But looking to win the series here, Bradley Blaylock against Luis Medina. And we win 8-7. Looks like they mounted a comeback here in the last 3 innings, but we were able to hold them off. Really good start from Blaylock. Gavin Williams not good in his team debut. Rodriguez and Smith both give up runs, but we wound up taking it. Juan Soto, 3 RBIs in this one. Royce Lewis, 3 hits. Really nice series from our first-year KBO star, Si-Juan No. Hoping for more of that this season. That'd be great. Macon Winslow had a nice series as well. A couple doubles in this game, it looks like. And did Churio drove in a few runs as well. So excellent start to the season. We start by winning the series. And that'll be the episode. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you guys next time for the first app update, draft, trade deadline, all that good stuff. So we'll see you then. Peace.